to other big cities. This year, LA will spend less than a quarter of what San Francisco spends and just 8% of what New York spends. On Domestic Violence Awareness Month, Mayor Eric Garcetti says the city has taken steps to boost funding and to place domestic abuse response teams at all 21 LAPD stations. Until recently, teams had served only half the stations.
If you're scared to leave the house, we can get you out. We can make sure that you get the restraining orders and the legal assistance you need, that we can get child care for your children.
To the victims, I know it's hard. I know you feel like he loves you, but he doesn't love you if he hits you. Get out.
Again, if you are in trouble, do not wait. Get the help you deserve by calling first the Domestic Violence Hotline, the city's hotline. That's the number at the bottom of your screen, 1-800-799-7233. Outside City Hall, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
And as city leaders take steps to boost services, Ana Marcos takes a closer look at how these domestic abuse response teams can help victims.
This year, like every year, 15 million of our kids will see or experience domestic violence in their homes.
But this is more than simply a women's issue or a law enforcement issue. It is a community issue.
Domestic violence is the beginning of a cycle of violence that impacts the entire city.
City leaders are beefing up LA's fight against domestic violence, whether it be against women, children, or other family members, by doubling the number of domestic violence abuse response teams, or DART. About a year ago, only 10 LAPD divisions had DART. Now all 22 divisions have them. DART teams, made up of police and victims advocates, provide on-site counseling, shelter, and other services to victims when they need help the most.
We will get you out of this cycle of violence and fear. We're here with the resources. We are here with the police and the prosecutorial resources, as well as the human resources that you need to be able to break away.
Mayor Eric Garcetti's wife, Amy Elaine Wakeland, has long been a champion of domestic violence victims.
Domestic violence touches individuals and families across every geographic, socioeconomic, racial, and ethnic barrier. It tears families apart, it scars our children, and it perpetuates a cycle that we need to end.
And now, thanks to money from the mayor's Fund for Los Angeles, city leaders are hoping victims get the help they need to end that cycle of violence. For more information or help, visit www.safela.org. I'm Ana Marcos for LA This Week.
Donors to the mayor's fund in support of expanding DART included Blue Shield of California Foundation, HealthNet, Paramount Pictures, Verizon Foundation, the Caruso Family Foundation, and Union Bank Foundation. Well, he is the lawyer for the people, and City Attorney Mike Feuer now has a little more on his plate as he tackles everything from misdemeanors to homelessness to fighting big agencies in court. Ana Marcos attended one of his so-called coffee sessions to find out what Feuer is up to.
City Attorney Mike Feuer is tackling a much bigger crime load these days. Ever since Prop 47 passed last year, a law that turns nonviolent cases like drug and property crimes from felonies to misdemeanors, his office has been slammed with the flood of misdemeanor cases, and he's working to come up with new solutions.
Very few offenders are getting treatment. Very few offenders are likely, so far, to suffer any consequence in terms of getting into jail.
Feuer and his office have been hard at work identifying 50 drug offenders who have committed 1,200 crimes in the last year, and it is this group which he is working to target. Among his solutions, he's received a grant to start a chronic offender pilot program where drug offenders get rerouted into drug rehab immediately upon arrest. In return, their records are wiped clean and they avoid a court trial. He's also met with local judges, lawyers, and law enforcement to hammer out more solutions.
Prop 47 and how we handle it in this county could be either the role model or the object lesson for that national conversation.
Feuer is also working on ways to end homelessness, which includes providing housing and services and getting the homeless back on their feet.
we need to target our resources in a way that reflects the composition of the homeless population and the difference of needs that is contained in that population.
Another big issue, turning nuisance properties into neighborhood assets. FEWER's new receivership program finds law firms to take over nuisance properties, fix them up, and sell them without taxpayer money. The law firms make money off the sale.
Once we start this, we anticipate seeing property after property transformed in neighborhoods that have been riddled with blight.
It's all in a day's work for a city attorney who believes today's new problems require new solutions. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Other ways City Attorney FEWER is fighting for the people. He won a court fight to make the Department of Water and Power records transparent and accessible to the public. The agency appealed, and now he is fighting that appeal. Well, young people in foster care make a movie that uncovers some ugly truths. As Gil Reyes reports, this controversial film has captured the attention of local leaders.
We can't just quit on ourselves. We can do it.
The new film, Know How, written and performed by real-life foster youth, exposes little-known flaws within the foster care system, like the overprescription of medication to treat so-called problem children.
They're supposed to stabilize folks, but they're not stabilizing you. They're making you zombies, and I think it's a poor excuse to not deal with the real issues that young people in foster care have.
Like being cycled in and out of foster homes and juvenile hall. The cast joined LA City Councilman Marquise Harris Dawson for a special movie screening and panel discussion in Leimert Park. A University of Chicago study finds half of foster kids drop out of high school, and even more will be convicted of crimes as adults. Congresswoman Karen Bass says part of the problem is the overprescription of psychotropic medications. Many foster parents don't mind this because they're actually paid more money by the government to care for kids classified as having mental issues. But Bass says overprescription is destroying young minds, so she's passed legislation to limit this.
We're hoping, of course, that a lot of them go on to college, but most important that they don't wind up like a lot of children once they turn 18. They wind up homeless, are incarcerated, or for girls, wind up pregnant, are involved in sex trafficking.
Local leaders say addressing the problem of overprescription and passing more laws to protect kids will help.
As a chairperson of the Homelessness Committee, we think this is one of the best things you can do to stem the tide of new homeless people. Also to create the kind of community that we deserve where young people can grow up, get good jobs.
The film Know How is now streaming on Netflix. In Leimert Park, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Councilman Harris Dawson says his South LA district has one of the highest concentrations of foster youth in our city. Well, solar power recently took center stage during a festival in Boyle Heights, where harnessing power from the sun was all the rage. This icy street vending cart runs completely on solar energy. The solar-powered cart was designed by students from the Boyle Heights Charter School CAIO Youth Build, which helps young people identify issues within their community and create solutions.
The solar panels have created a charging dock, so we have so folks can charge their phones. We have Wi-Fi on this thing, so folks could get access to the internet.
Folks gathered to enjoy a music and art festival in East LA recently that was completely powered by solar power. This first ever solar event highlighted the benefits of using solar energy.
We're showing how easy it is today and how technology has advanced to be able to get our energy from alternative forms of energy and not rely on the local grid, which we get a majority of our energy from coal.
Councilmember Jose Huizar said it's important to start using other forms of energy and reduce our dependence on coal, as the fossil fuel is the leading contributor of global warming, changing climate, and causes various health issues.
What we're here for today is to promote solar power energy and what the wonderful things it could do to our society here, our cultura.
Huizar said that while installing solar panels in your home or business may be costly now, the long-term impact will have great financial and environmental benefit. The city even has programs that can help businesses and homeowners switch to solar. Various vendors were also on hand educating folks on how they can take advantage of other programs to incorporate clean energy into everyday use.
We want to make sure that families all over Los Angeles, but especially on the east side, are able to access the potential of solar power, of clean energy, save money on their bills, and to create cleaner air in our communities.
The city of LA has made a commitment to stop using coal energy by the year 2025. More than 350 East Side residents came out for the festival. While the city is also focusing on solar power to make trash collection cleaner, more earth-friendly, and more efficient. Councilmember Curran Price has teamed up with a company called Big Belly to bring high-tech trash cans to his 9th council district. Anna Marcos takes a look.
Yay!
These kids have got front row seats as trash collection goes solar and high-tech along South LA's Central Avenue corridor. This new Big Belly solar-powered trash station even has a compactor for the trash, which means it can hold even more litter.
First of all, you get about a 5-to-1 ability in terms of holding more trash, which means less trucks on the street, cleaner streets.
This trash can is so smart, it actually alerts city workers when it's time for trash to be collected, which makes trash collection a lot more efficient.
With this technology, our staff will have to spend less time emptying trash cans and more time concentrating on other efforts in the area of beautification.
Councilmember Curran Price plans to install 31 of the Big Belly trash stations along Central and Grand Avenues and along Martin Luther King Boulevard.
Well, the result, again, is creating the kind of a living environment, that's going to be safe and clean for our families, the places that you would enjoy not just living in, but also shopping in. This is a major commercial area. We're doing lots of things to enhance the desirability of the area.
I feel proud of living here. I see a lot of improvement. The city of LA now has about 250 of the high-tech trash stations. And as they work to cut down on the amount of trash that goes to landfills, city leaders are also hoping even their trash collection leaves less of a carbon footprint. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Big Belly trash stations are fast becoming the new trend. There are now about 30,000 installed worldwide in 47 countries. While city officials urge residents to take care of their pets during an emergency, raising awareness for childhood cancer, and a service that helps patients get dental care without leaving their home. All these stories in City Beat. Surrounded by in-service horses and dogs, the Los Angeles Fire Department gathered at the Frank Hodgkin Memorial Training Center with city officials to remind Angelinos about the importance of having an evacuation plan for your pets and animals during fires and other emergencies. Officials say having a plan in place for your pets will help ensure the safety and survival for the rest of your family, especially during fire season.
Make sure you practice getting your cat into a crate so that in case of an emergency, you're not scrambling around trying to find Fluffy and trying to shove Fluffy in a carrier while your house is on fire.
Being prepared could mean the difference between life and death.
A few safety tips include making sure your pets and animals are microchipped and you have a rolling backpack with emergency supplies, food, and water ready to go.
I hope someday you'll join us.
Children's Hospital Los Angeles joined forces with Councilmember Jose Huizar to honor Childhood Cancer Awareness and Hispanic Heritage Month. Huizar recognized the Children's Center for Cancer with a resolution thanking them for all the work they do on behalf of families struggling with childhood cancer. The disease hits close to home for Huizar, whose daughter was treated at the center for leukemia when she was just 3 years old. Huizar wants Latino families that may have a child with cancer to know that help is available.
We want to make sure that we are telling them we're with them, that there are a lot of support systems out there.
A teledentistry demonstration recently took place at the Kingsley Manor Retirement Community for seniors who are unable to receive proper dental care. This virtual dental demonstration delivered affordable dental care for seniors in the comfort of their homes. Dental experts say more than half the population is not getting regular dental care, particularly low-income seniors.
And 6 years of a demonstration clearly showed that the model worked, that we were able to reach people who weren't getting regular dental care have diagnostic and preventive services, keep people healthy on site, as opposed to having them end up with toothaches and infections and all the other problems of neglected dental disease.
Dr. Paul Glassman said this mobile dental service can be used in many different locations, such as nursing homes, Head Start and community centers, elementary schools, and residences for people with disabilities. While the city of LA braces for El Nino, like a horror movie sequel, heavy rains are expected to wreak havoc on Southern California once again. But as Gil Reyes reports, there are things homeowners can do to weather the storm.
Nearly 18 years after El Nino rains pounded the state, the storm pattern that toppled trees, crushed cars, and flooded streets is expected to return with a vengeance.
So we can't prepare for everything, but what we can do is really have a communications plan starting now with the public on things they can do.
Councilman Mitchell Englander, chair of the Public Safety Committee, wants the media to encourage preparation at home before rains arrive later this fall. The good news is the city says it's ready on their end. LA sanitation officials say all catch basins and storm drains are cleared and checked regularly to support the expected logjam of water and debris.
LA City agencies say they're more prepared now than ever before to deal with the possibility of severe flooding, like the type that typically happens here at the Sepulveda Basin. Part of the reason is improved coordination between agencies in terms of response and preparation. Now it's time for the public to do their part.
So what we want the public to do is conserve the use of wastewater and flushing.
Adel Hagit Khalil of LA Sanitation says limiting water use in the kitchen and bathroom, especially on rainy days, will help prevent clogging the sewer system. He also reminds residents to secure loose items like trash and recycling bins, which can easily block storm drains. This month, it took just one garbage bin to block a drain and cause havoc in Temple City on a rainy day.
Blocked it, and the entire neighborhood flooded.
Englander also urging people to invest in rain barrels. The city offers $100 rebates per barrel. They save water, money, and even possibly your street from sewer overflow.
But I think we're prepared. We're going to do everything we can to prevent that from happening, but the public can't help us.
Preparing for El Nino. Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Councilmember Englander's committee is preparing a more expansive media blitz for El Nino preparations. Expect that in early November. While city leaders and students in Los Angeles marked International Walk to School Day by walking to campus. That's the focus of This Week in Tweets. LA Mayor Eric Garcetti's office tweeted a pic of the mayor and council member Curran Price walking to school with some kids, posting, "We're celebrating Walk to School Day today at Dolores Huerta Elementary School." Price posted a pic with the mayor and a few students writing, "Had fun walking with Mayor Garcetti and dozens of children to Dolores Huerta Elementary School in the new 9th. What a great way to get some physical activity and raise awareness on the importance of pedestrian safety." Councilmember Mitchell Farrell also tweeted a pic of him walking to school with students. He wrote, "What a great turnout for Walk to School Day at Grant Elementary in East Hollywood. Thank you to the school's principal for hosting us." And Great Streets retweeted a post from Streets blog which showed some kids walking with police officers. The post read, some heartwarming moments from Walk to School Day. And that's a look at This Week in Tweets. Well, families in Panorama City are getting on board as they celebrate new improvements in their neighborhood recreation center. This new green and yellow makeshift train has just arrived to its new home at the Sepulveda Rec Center, and the neighborhood kids didn't waste any time climbing on board. The train is part of a newly completed play area for kids in Panorama City.
I have a 3.5-year-old son, for him to come out and enjoy himself and go on the slide and the swing, so it's very nice.
The train-themed playground, complete with custom play structures that mimic a train depot and train cars, also offers play areas that are designed for children of varying abilities.
It's so beautiful. So many ways to the kids have fun. There is a train, there is a stop right there to go around all the park, to play with sand.
Officials recently celebrated the opening with a ribbon cutting. The new play area was made possible thanks to a collaboration between the Department of Rec and Parks and community partners like Shane's Inspiration and First 5 LA, organizations that are dedicated to supporting the needs of young children and their families.
Together, we can promote
more physical activity with play spaces like this and help children maintain a healthy weight.
Community members also gave their input in creating two unique playground designs, one train-themed Tot Park and the other a plane-themed playground. And the kids couldn't get enough, sliding down the slides and swinging back and forth. Nothing like a day at a brand new park to release some energy. The playground is the 30th play area to open in partnership with the city and Shane's Inspiration. Well, a dance group that'll get you tapping to the beat, exploring LA's undiscovered neighborhoods, and it's the hard knock life at the Pantages Theater. Here's this week's Things to Do. Since Rhapsody in Tap's beginnings in 1981, artistic director and choreographer Linda Sol Ellison and Rhapsody in Tap's artists have created a vast repertoire celebrating the tap tradition and exploring new directions in tap choreography. Featuring 3 world premieres, Heart Song and Boot Brigade, 2 works exploring tap, body, and boot percussion, the Rhapsody in Taps presents its 34th annual Los Angeles season. Experience brilliant, poetic tap and music improvisations, energetic ensemble dancing, infectious rhythms, and foot-padding bounce-in-your-seats fun on Saturday, October 17th at the Aratani Theater at 244 South San Pedro Street in downtown LA. Visit RhapsodyInTaps.com for more. On Saturday, October 17th and Sunday, October 18th, the nonprofit LA Commons will host its 5th annual Found LA Festival of Undiscovered Neighborhoods. Following last year's tie to Mayor Eric Garcetti's Great Streets program, this year's theme is driven by the idea of mapping one's own Los Angeles. The free weekend of tours is inspired by the new Heyday release Latitudes and Angelinos Atlas, which brings 19 diverse local writers together with a cartographer to explore aspects of the city's geography, history, and culture. The essays range from quirky to provocative, but each is grounded by the physical, societal, and perceived boundaries and neighborhoods of LA. For neighborhood-specific tours, visit lacommons.org/programs. The world's best-loved musical returns in time-honored form and is perfect for the entire family. This Tony Award-winning production of Annie will be a brand-new incarnation of the iconic original. Annie includes such unforgettable songs as It's the Hard Knock Life, Easy Street, I Don't Need Anything But You, plus the eternal anthem of optimism, Tomorrow. It's been described as big, warm-hearted, and funny. Annie runs now through November 1st at the Pantages Theater located at 6233 Hollywood Boulevard in Los Angeles. For tickets, visit HollywoodPantages.com. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kay, and from all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
What if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if everything familiar becomes anything but? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready.
Get a kit. Make a plan. Be informed today.
Hola, soy Marisol, desde Canoga Park, la ciudad toda americana. Estás viendo LA City View, Canal 35, nuestra ciudad, nuestro canal.
Good morning. Today is Tuesday, October 13th. I want to welcome you to your Los Angeles City Council. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m., and the public is welcome. Madam Clerk, we have a quorum. Could you please call the roll?
Blumenfeld, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Harris, Dawson, Huizar, Carrasco, Corey, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rue, Wesson. 13 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Price moves, Blumenfield seconds. Next.
Committee to resolutions for approval.
Krikorian moves, Harris Dawson seconds. That brings us where?
Mr. President, today is Tuesday, and now be the time for the flag salute.
Okay, why don't we rise? We'll be led today by Mitch O'Farrell in our flag salute. Why don't we all rise?
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Place your hand over your heart and begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. O'Farrell. Madam Clerk, why don't we go through the agenda?
For item 1 is an item notice for public hearing. There's request to continue items 1H and L to October 27th and 1J to November 13th. Also, the Department of Building and Safety reports that item 1A may be received and filed inasmuch as the lien has been paid.
Okay, so without objection, that'll be the order. Do you have cards?
Yes, there's cards.
Okay, let us move on.
Items 2 through 14 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Okay, members 2 through 14, any specials by members? I do not see any. Let's prepare, Madam Clerk, to vote on these items. Let us please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That brings us where?
Items 15 through 23 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. Do you have cards?
Yes, cards on items 15, 17, 19, 20, 21, and 23.
Okay, let's hold those items and vote on the remaining items. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Mr. Huizar?
Number 23, forthwith, please.
23, forthwith. Okay, that takes us where, or brings us where, Madam Clerk?
On the item 24 is a closed session item. Do you wish to hold that on the desk?
I think I'll defer Mr. Huizar, Mr. Bonin. Item 24, I've got a note to defer to the two of you.
Item 24?
Item 24 is a closed session item on the mobility plan.
Okay, so we'll just hold that on the desk. That brings us where?
Mr. President, that brings council to presentations or items called special.
All right. Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to introduce a delegation visiting us from South Africa here for the National Association of Housing and Redevelopment Officials Conference being held this week at the LA Convention Center. Here from the Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University is Professor S.J. Manga. Please stand. Channel 35, if we can get a shot. Give him a warm welcome.
Welcome.
And also the Chief Executive Officer of the Housing Association East London, Lawrence Montenbag Rabashomo. Thank you so much for joining us.
Welcome, too.
Thank you. Thank
welcome,
you, Mr. President.
Sir. No, thank you, Mr. Buscaino. Do we have Sean Murphy in the house? Sean, we're going to do item 23, held by you. Come forward.
Yeah, good morning.
Item 23 is an important item.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
All right. Mr. Walsh, we're going to do item 15. Come on forward, item 15. Mr. Walsh?
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. This is the all-important item 15. These again are REAP. Now, REAP means that if you have code violations in your rental and the landlord doesn't repair them to the satisfaction of the city inspector, then the city inspector informs the city council, informs the city to stop immediately, and from now on, the landlord pays the rent to the you pay the rent to the city, not to the landlord. And when this happens, you should see how fast the landlords correct the problems. And we have them here, and certain neighborhoods, they go after certain neighborhoods. The landlord never gets reaped, and that would be west of La Brea, in the white neighborhood. But South Main Street, South 11th Avenue, you can see where these addresses are. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Okay, thank you. Let's prepare to vote on that item. Please, Madam Clerk, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
We're going to move now to item 19. Mr. Walsh, item 19, sir.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. This concerns declaring October 13th, which is today, Domestic Violence Day of Action. I guess you mean anti-domestic violence Day of Action. You might change that. Domestic violence, and you can find the domestic violence on Crime Mapping LA in your own neighborhood. Go check it out. Check the way I have it on my Twitter account. Domestic violence has absolutely covered this city. I remember in the Bradley days, domestic violence is very, very unusual happening. Now, women are, not only women, the weaker in a gay couple is beaten up by the stronger in a gay couple, although we don't hear anything about domestic violence from the professional, gay domestic violence from the professional gays up here. We're talking about the number of people in the hospital. We're talking about people being hospitalized for domestic violence. It's out of control. And, even the mayor doesn't seem to give a damn about it, even though he has two partners, a gay partner and a straight partner. And we're talking about domestic violence and how, what are you going to do? I want to know what you are doing up here on Domestic Violence Day to highlight domestic violence. And I wish you'd have a cop come up here and give you the statistics, but they're not going to do that. You won't hear any more about domestic violence. Mitch O'Farrell paying no attention, Ms. O'Farrell.
Stay on
HollywoodHighlands.org. They don't give a damn.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So now, Mr. Bonin, to go into our presentation that deals with this very, very important issue, I'd like to defer to you at this point in time, and I would respectfully ask for everyone to pay attention.
Task force members come up too. Get the task force members come up too.
Do you need task force?
Task force members, come on up too. Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, colleagues. As the Council's official liaison to the city's Domestic Violence Task Force, it's my honor today to join the members of the Domestic Violence Task Force, members of the LAPD's Domestic Abuse Response Team, and many others today in acknowledging that this is Domestic Violence Awareness Day in the City of Los Angeles. No neighborhood in the City of Los Angeles is immune to the devastating toll that domestic violence takes on our families. It's a problem that affects every single part of our socioeconomic spectrum, every ethnic group, and as we're focusing on today, people of all ages. Each year, the Domestic Violence Task Force here in LA designates a day in October as a day of action, and they focus on one specific aspect of the damage that domestic violence does in our neighborhoods and to our families. This year, they're focusing on domestic violence later in life. This year, we're raising awareness about the complex and the specific social issues that occur when older adults are victims of domestic violence. Domestic abuse later in life and elder abuse often go hand in hand, and the consequences of both are very similar. It's extremely important that collaboration between our aging groups and our domestic violence networks are tight and seamless to make sure that we have the maximum support and safety for victims of survivors of abuse later in life. This sort of collaboration, fortunately, is exactly what's happening in programs like the County of Los Angeles' Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program and the county's Elder Abuse Prevention Program. And they're both overseen by this year's Marjorie M. Browdy Award recipient, Molly Davies, who's the Vice President of Elder Abuse and Ombudsman Services at Wise and Healthy Aging. Where is she? And she is on her way up. I will talk about her as she comes up. Molly's work at Wise and Healthy Aging has had a tremendous impact in combating violence in aging communities and in serving victims. And on behalf of the City Council, I'm very pleased to acknowledge her. She will be getting her official award up in the Bradley Tower at 11 a.m. Oh, she already has it. She has her award here today. And thank you for all of your work. Is there anything you'd like to?
Thank you so much. Thank you to the council. This has been a very overwhelming experience. I just appreciate the opportunity to highlight abuse in later life. Far too often, victims don't become survivors because we don't have the systems in place to help support them in the way we should. But the City of Los Angeles is doing something to remedy that, and I'm proud to be part of that project. And thank you to all the partners here who are supporting older survivors later in life. Thank you.
Thank you. It's important to note that Molly is certainly not the only person here worthy of recognition for the work she's done on this issue. Our City Controller, Ron Galperin, our City Attorney, Mike Fewer, our Mayor, Eric Garcetti, our colleague, Mr. Blumenfield, when he was in Sacramento, have all been tremendous leaders on this issue, as has Chief Beck, who we'll hear from in just a second. I do want to give a particular shout-out right now, though, to the members of the LAPD DART teams who are here with us. They are the ones who are going to be getting the honor in the Bradley Tower in a little bit. So at this point, I'd like to introduce to you someone you've heard from in years past, Eve Sheedy, who is the chair of the Domestic Violence Task Force here in Los Angeles. Eve?
Okay, I timed this. I'm going to be a little over 1:58. Good morning. My name's Eve Sheedy. I'm chair of the city's Domestic Violence Task Force, and I'm counsel for domestic violence policy at the city attorney's office. Today is the task force day of action, and we're focusing on domestic violence in later life. Molly Davies of Wise and Healthy Aging has received the Marjorie Browdy Award, and we are honoring the brave members of LAPD who've gone above and beyond in dealing with domestic violence. While today is celebratory, we must take a careful look at where we are. We are confronting rising crime, including domestic violence, and shrinking funding. We have slightly over 500 DV emergency shelter beds. New York, with a population that is approximately double ours, has 4 times the number of beds and is funded to move that number up to over 5 times the number of beds than LA. New York is also adding 400 transitional beds to their existing amount. In LA, we learned last week from LAHSA that we are likely to lose 202 transitional beds. Our city leaders have proposed a number of new domestic violence projects over the last few weeks, and we thank them sincerely for focusing on domestic violence. However, we need to make sure that our fundamental services, shelter-based and non-shelter-based, have enough money to keep their doors open to provide the life-saving services that we all depend on. LAPD receives over 48,000 calls for service each year. Studies indicate that between 1 in 2 to 1 in 4 people who are domestic violence victims do not ever call the police. We are conservatively looking at over 150,000 victims plus their children. The abuse happens behind closed doors, but we see the consequences everywhere. Homelessness, substance abuse, gang violence, the failure of our children to thrive, all results from domestic violence. Please share this day by honoring those who truly deserve our recognition for their wonderful work. But please honor domestic violence victims by promising to keep this issue front and center today and for the rest of the year. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I believe Chief Beck would like to say a few words.
Well, thank you, Councilman, and thanks to the entire council for your recognition of these great volunteers and city employees today. We doubled the size of our DART teams last year in response to an increase in domestic violence throughout the city, expanding them to all 21 divisions. The DART teams are a tremendous, tremendous response to a problem that can be very, very difficult to solve. I told a story a little earlier today. I'm going to retell it because I think it speaks to the need. Many, many years ago, I was a young police officer in Venice, actually in Councilman Bonin's district, and I responded to an unknown trouble call and found a horrific scene where a mother and a child had been killed. And as I walked through the front door, I looked at the door jamb, and at the time, before we had tracking of calls and the CAD system and all the things we have now, the practice was when you went to a domestic violence call, you would put your unit designation and the date up on the door jamb with a pencil very faintly so that others could see, other police officers that responded to a crime that so often occurred again and again and again at the same location, other police officers could be aware that there was a history. As I walked through that door into that horrific crime scene, and the suspect was the father and the husband, I noted 6 previous calls. 6 times the Los Angeles Police Department had responded to this exact same residence and done little. Not because we didn't want to, not because we didn't recognize that it wouldn't happen again, but because we weren't evolved enough. The city was not evolved enough. Service providers were not evolved enough. But now we are. Now we know better. Now we know that a cycle of violence has to have an end, or it will just continue and continue and continue. And if you don't save the families, then you can't save this city. And I want to thank the people behind me. I want to thank the men and women of the Los Angeles Police Department, every one of which is a volunteer. They choose this job. I don't choose them for this job. They choose this job, and if they meet the standards and perform the training, then they move forward. So every one of them is a hero. Every one of the service providers and the volunteers behind me are heroes, and I'm just proud to stand in front of them. Thank you.
So, colleagues, we have a certificate to present to the task force, but as I do, I just want to acknowledge what Eve said a moment ago about the news they received from LASA recently, that the number of shelter beds available to victims of domestic violence are actually decreasing by a couple hundred. I just want to let them know, and I'm confident that I speak for my colleagues on the Homelessness and Poverty Committee, our co-chairs, Mr. Weezer and Mr. Harris-Dawson and Mr. Price and Mr. Cedillo, that that's an issue that we will surely be taking up and considering as we figure how to allocate the city's resources for homelessness. And I'd encourage you and the task force members to join us in those committee deliberations to make sure it stays on our radar screen. So I would like to present you with the certificate officially on behalf of the City Council. You got one over here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's give them another round of applause. Thank you for going above and beyond. Thank you so very much. Now, Mr. Bonin, you know what? You may want to stay there. We do have a very important act that needs to happen at this time. I think we need to vote on this. So why don't we open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. Thank you all again. Thank you so much. We're going to now go to item 20. Members, I had a little glitch. I know there were a few members that wanted to speak on the last item, and I blew that one, and I'm sorry for that. Let us move on to item 20, which is Mr. Sachs, Donna Pearman, and Mr. Dude. Mr. Sachs, please come forward. Donna Pearman and Mr. Dude.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. And I referred to this item only because it deals with the unaccountable amount of street furniture revenue that goes to the council district offices. It'd be really nice if the city controller would do an audit on the amount of funds that go to the city council district offices, referring to street furniture revenue and bus bench revenue and pipeline revenue, and these unaccounted funds that end up in the council district to use, but not in the councilman's office, not per se for the council district. It's at the whims of the councilman. And we've heard and we've seen where he's not even here. One of the councilmen was using those funds to pay for his staff members. So I'm sure other councilmen are using these funds to pay for their staff members. And Mr. Bonin just mentioned about funding for domestic violence beds. Maybe there could be a recall of some of these funds to use for that program, that maybe you could take 10% or 15% or 20% of these unaccounted funds that the council offices get and put those towards city programs that would benefit the public in a greater way than just having one council person have complete autonomous control over those amounts of money. And again, when the budget hearings come up and are discussed, we hear about these different sources of revenue, but nobody ever puts a name or a value on those sources of revenue. Just speakers on this side of the podium, never hearing anything from the councilmen themselves, except Mr. Weezer when he was paying for his staff members.
Ms. Bierman, followed by Mr. Dude.
Hello? Yes, all over the place that we have streets that are in shambles, and our sidewalks and our streets, and there's no benches. But you rather spend $12,000, $910.20 for one event, for one jazz festival event, which most people, probably a good portion of the people, will not be going to this jazz festival. This is really too much money, spending $12,000 for one jazz event, when that area probably had people tripping over cracks in the sidewalk. I think we really should take care of the sidewalks and have benches for people to sit down, especially on near buses. Still, a lot of areas don't have benches. So I'm just going to leave it down to that area and reopen Van Nuys video conferencing. Thank you very much.
You are off the subject. Okay. Mr. Dude, I don't see him. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
We'll move now. That's approved. Item 21, Mr. Murphy. Mr. Dude.
Yes, good morning. Item 21 is another support of.
Thank you. So if I can get Mr. Dude, Mr. Walsh, Donna Pearman, please come on. Donna, don't wait on him. Come on, let's go. Whoever gets here first.
Yeah, he went upstairs now, Anyway, we have over here, we got to bring back the Second Amendment rights so that people will be able to take care, so people be able to defend themselves, so that people won't be out there murdering so easily. If they think that the people out there might be able to defend themselves, or they think that somebody around them might be able to
Donna, let's
shoot
talk
them.
about the subject, which is a reward.
This is reward, and basically we got snitches get stitches. People will not give in. Money doesn't mean anything if they think they're going to get killed, or they think their relatives are going to get killed, or children going to get killed. It's an area that's not going to work. I mean, it's nice and dandy to get these people, but nobody's going to put their life out and for getting one person. I'm sorry.
Okay, Mr. Walsh, could we redo the timer?
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. This, again, is a reward offer for... It's reinstating a reward offer for an unsolved murder. These are gang killings. Now, the gangs know me because I was a substitute teacher for a quarter of a century. They had me as their teacher in first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Everybody knows me in the hood from that. Stitches gets stitches. Put that in, Google that. Take a look at the shirt I bought. It's a red shirt with blood coming off a straight razor. It's a death sentence. If you have any information concerning Luis Rodriguez, believe me, these cops aren't going to protect you. If you give it to the cops give it to the gangsters for money, and then the gangsters kill you. That's what happens in Los Angeles. Now, what I really don't like is when you bring up the families and they're crying and you make them, it sounds, Luis Rodriguez's family, that somehow you're going to do something about this. Now, I've asked you, in the past 10 years, how many gang killings? Occasionally you catch someone a hit and run driver. But as far as gang killings, and I'm saying it right now to the LA Times and to everybody, tell me one gang killing where you arrested somebody and the person who made the tip testified and that person wasn't killed. It never happens. You're wasting your time. People know they're not going to get any protection from you, and they will be killed if they give me any information about Luis Rodriguez's death. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Mr. Dude.
Yes, Luis Rodriguez, may he rest in peace, and I hope somebody tells you who did it, but that's not going to bring him back. How much are you offering for reward? I didn't quite read the whole thing. But we operate on a lot of bullshit, stuff like that. You know? A lot of the stuff that you promise us, you don't deliver.
No, just stay on the subject.
Yeah, the subject is...
No, the subject is a reward. Stay on
Yeah, the reward. The reward. I was talking about it. Then you interrupted me.
No, now you're off the subject again. Thank you, Mr. Dude. Thank you very much. All right, let's prepare. Your time's expired. Let us prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Murphy and Mr. Sachs, it's my understanding Mr. Walsh is out of time. So if I could have Mr. Murphy, Mr. Sachs, and Mr. Dude. This is item 17. I'm sorry. Item 17.
Yes. Item 17, it's a maybe.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sachs? Mr. Dude?
Yes, thank you. Good morning again, Arnold Sachs. And I refer to this item only because it deals with civil service provisions. And I think it's about time that these came front and center to some of the contract negotiations that we hear about in the city. I mean, on your agenda today, the Police Committee and the Public Safety Committee were awfully busy at approving all these items, almost 10 items they approved. But no committee hears the civil service provisions. And they should be brought out into the public. I mean, government is now the biggest employer in the county. Between the city and the county and government and the MTA, government employs more people than any other business. We need to address civil service provisions. You need to address them so that they're open so public has input on them and not keep them in closed session like you do, and then the public gets the bill. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Dude, item 17.
Communication from the mayor. That would be me in a couple of years.
Stay on the subject.
I'm running.
You're off the subject. One more time, your time is done.
Okay, item 17, communication for the mayor relative to the redemption of the principal project coordinating city administration officer, CAD, from the council services provisions of the city chapter. Wow, is that written in English? Look, it sounds more like legalese.
Stay on the subject.
Yeah, when I am the mayor, you're not going to be telling me.
Thank you. You're off the subject again. Okay, members, let's prepare to vote. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
All right, let's move on. Okay, we're going to go to Mr. Bonin.
President, I just wanted to make an acknowledgement. We have some children here from the 11th District. If they could rise, this is a 4th grade class from Marquez Elementary
Stand
School.
up, guys, and make sure we put the TV cameras on them. Look at yourselves, wave. Let's get it sharp and clear. Come on, guys, wave, and you can have your parents and grandparents look at you later today. Go on, everybody wave and smile. Anyway, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Bonin. All right. Item 1. Nalita Lopez, item 1.
And Mr. President, as she's coming, there's a request to continue items 1B and E to October 27th.
Okay, I think this one's 1C. Go.
I would like to request 2 weeks, an extension for 2 weeks, please.
Mr. Buscaino, I believe.
Yes, we can grant that. We can grant that 2-week extension, Mr. President.
Okay, 2 weeks then would be what, October 27th?
Yes, Mr. President.
So we will continue that for 2 weeks, October 27th.
Thank you very much.
You are welcome. Sonia Johnson Williams. Miss Williams, please come forward.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask
Speak into the mic.
I'd like to ask for a continuance for 30 days. I was directed by Charles Calibia to speak to Principal Inspector Cheryl Chisholm, and I've been trying to make an appointment to talk with her about the lien, and I haven't been able to contact her yet.
The address was 436 East 95th Street.
Yes.
And I didn't hear you?
So can we continue this for 2 weeks?
Okay, so we will continue your item until October 27th as well. Okay, so you have 2 weeks and maybe speak with representatives of Mr. Harris Dawson's office, and they can help put that meeting together for you.
Thank you.
Christian Carlson, I think it is. 1920 North Main, I believe.
That's my business address. The 716 North Mission is the property.
I got you.
So the lien is based on unpaid vehicle facility inspections from a tenant from several years ago. That tenant, around the time that we filed for an eviction against that tenant, paid all of these outstanding inspections that he had not paid. I have the receipts here for those from June of 2014. At the time, the tenant owed us around $30,000, and we went ahead and paid what he owed the city. And now, 18 months later, I am getting this notice that we have a $4,500 lien being proposed for what I'm not sure exactly, since it's referencing invoices that were paid many, many months ago, over a year ago. I spoke to Mr. Kalibala, who said that it must be about late fees, but I'm curious how when I paid something within 6 months of it being due for something that wasn't even ours in the first place, that there could possibly be $4,500 in exclusively late fees having nothing to do with the actual invoices which were paid.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to move on for right now. I have other people that want to speak. So if I could get Fernando Grundy, I think that's it, Grundy, to come forward.
If I may, for one moment, just is someone going to? Should I talk to someone?
I'll ask for somebody to chat with you by the ropes to my right. Yes, sir.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. With your permission, I would like to request a two-week extension to cure the amount I owe.
The address?
4123 Garden Avenue, Los Angeles, California, 90039.
Okay, let me look into that, and we're going to send you over to this side of the wall as well. So Mr. Walsh is out of time. I have Mr. Dude. Does Mr. Dude have time?
Yes. I have
And Ms. Pearman.
This item 1 has always been my main concern. Why does City Hall have to hold liens on people that have already managed to have a little place to live? Mr. Ryu, I was right by your office last night. Used to be Levange. And I was wondering, are you going to help us create some changes so we get rid of this stupid lien system? All it is recruiting money. You have heard it. People have already paid the damn liens months ago, and somehow City Hall has managed to misplace all the information. What does that make you? It makes you the principal thief around the city. You are the worst enemies of the people because you manage to take their houses away, even though they worked for years and years to earn a little place to live. And then you go and say, oh, look, there's some crap on the sidewalk. Well, that was made by a dog that wasn't even theirs. And you put a lien on their house. Come on. Quit bullshitting the people. We elected you to help us. You fucking Donald Trump. All you do is accumulate money. And what good is it for if it's not helping the people? You are here to punish the people for being good citizens. You don't know how to run society. You're a different class of people. They call you politicians. You're not even in the high class.
Stay on the subject.
Yeah.
Thank you. Your time is up. Okay, before I go, Donna Pearman, you can make your way. But before you start, where's Miss Carlson? Is she still to my right? Miss Carlson, it's my understanding that we will continue your item to October 27th. And Mr. Grundy, we will do the same with you because you're 1D, and it's my understanding that you will continue your item to October 27th as well. Miss Pearman.
Yeah, these are bad rules here. It shows over here that the biggest problem is we don't know exactly why these people had the liens in the first place. Usually it's probably some rule that nobody knows about that somehow they were going against, and now all of a sudden they got a lien on their property. 2, I don't like the fact that the only ones that really get continuances are the ones who happen to come down here, or hopefully they can do it by telephone. There's still some people that don't get continuances, but in the end, they probably have to end up paying in the first place. So all they're doing is delaying it, and we just got too many liens. That's the problem. This is not the right way to get revenue by the backs of the people. So I'm totally against these liens because I don't even know what they're there for, and I'm going to leave it down to the 1 minute. Thank you.
Thank you. So help me out on this, Madam Clerk. I believe is it 1G that we wanted to receive and file?
Yes, Mr. President, there's a request to receive and file 1G in as much as the lien has been paid.
Okay, and again, 1M and 1D will be continued until October 27th. Let's prepare to vote on what is remaining. Let us open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
We do have a closed session item that we're going to go into in a couple of minutes. But at this point, I'd like to call, we're going to go into general public comment for just a few moments. And I'd like to bring up Bradley Hertz. Bradley Hertz. And I'd like to bring up, I think it's Eduardo Martinez. Please come forward. Good to see you again, sir.
Thank you.
He gets 2 minutes.
Thank you. Good morning. Bradley Hertz of the Sutton Law Firm on behalf of the AIDS Healthcare Foundation and Michael Weinstein. And with me today are more than 30 advocates from the AIDS Healthcare Foundation. I'm here to just speak briefly about the LA City Health Commission. 504 days ago, this council unanimously established the commission after signatures were gathered for a ballot measure. 12 or now 13 of the 15 members have now appointed members to the commission. And so it's just, as I understand it, council members Buscaino and Price who we're encouraging and hoping will soon appoint representatives. And then we want the clerk to, of course, start convening the meetings. This is to improve and study health care in Los Angeles and better interact between Los Angeles and the County of Los Angeles. So we look forward to prompt action. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Martinez.
Yes, my name is Eduardo Martinez. I work for ASF too. I just wanted to remind Mr. Curran Price that you haven't appointed anyone to the Health Commission. We have some of you constituent people that live in your district. I myself live in your district. Please do that so we can get the Health Commission going. Also, Mr. Buscaino, October's Italian Heritage Month. I think we should name someone to the Commission. And Mr. Englander, I just learned you named someone already, but thank you for that. Mr. President, when are we going to have the first meeting of the LA Health Commission?
I hear you loud and clear, and we'll have a conversation to see if we can make that happen quickly.
I would love that, and I would love to take the message to ASF and for all the people that live in the county of LA. Please, we do need the Health Commission. Mr. Price, Mr. Buscaino, we have a lot of people from Long Beach, San Pedro. We couldn't bring them here, but
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming down.
Mr. President, for the record, we submitted Dr. Andres Jimenez to sit on the Health Commission. I don't know what's taking so long to get him appointed.
Let's check on that.
Thank you.
And maybe that just, I'm sure we'll have all of the commissioners in a short period of time. Okay, I'm going to ask for Terry Wilburn. Terry Wilburn. Okay, so now with that said, I'm going to go back to item 24, and then we will do the remainder of our general public comment. I do have some cards on item 24. So I have Mr. Sachs, Mr. Previn, please come forward. Item 24. Again, thanks to all of you for coming down.
Yes, thank you. Good morning again, Arnold Sachs. And this is referring to the city's Mobility Plan 2035, which in and of itself is not really a mobility plan. It's just a plan because the city can't fix streets and roads and have a transportation plan. In effect, they're actually going to slow traffic down. You know, there used to be a group called FAST, Fixing Angelino Stuck in Traffic. And so we formed FART, Fixing Angelino's Rotting in Traffic. Now this group is now called Move LA. But you're slowing everybody down. And by slowing the traffic down, you're going to have less wear and tear on the roads and the infrastructure of the city. You don't have the money. You had a Measure R pass where the city got 3% local return. And what did the city do? They passed an amendment, put it forward by Bernard Parks, to take the money that was going to come in from that for infrastructure repair and use it for something else. But they never said what it was. All the funding for transportation goes up in smoke. So in response to FAST changing to MOVE, FART has changed to bowel movement, because that's what transportation in the city and the county is all about. Just a huge bowel movement. Tons of money, and nothing ever gets done. You may have read about the new project at MTA and UCLA School of Architecture and USC School of Architecture made comments about this bus station that they're going to plan.
Stay on the item, Arnold.
It's part of the mobility plan, sir.
No,
and it's the idea that these architectural schools will make comments. But the downtown connector, no comment. No comment. It's the blue line that's continued from Long Beach to Pasadena.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Mr. Previn.
Good morning, Council President Wesson and City Council. It is Eric Previn, a resident from CD2. This is item 24, a proposed closed session on a legal case that's from Fix the City, Inc. versus the city, and, of course, Hollywoodians Encouraging Logical Planning. Those are the two groups that are suing, and you're going in to talk about it in the back room. And obviously the mobility plan is of great interest, and the talking about it in the back room with the lawyers is of great interest. Now, there was a discussion about legal counsel and the hiring of outside counsel. We met on September 21 in Budget Finance on that, on legal matters, sir, and this is a legal matter. And the protocol about that has come up. We want to know, are we hiring an outside counsel for this kind of a lawsuit, or are we going to use an in-house city attorney? And the more important piece there, sir, and I think you, as much as anyone would like to know this, we'd like to keep track of the city attorney hours then on these cases. Because in a case that was just like this case, what do you mean I'm not talking about the item?
Get back.
The city attorney, you're going to have
No. Get back to the item. Don't debate it with him.
Legal case and the city attorney, whether or not this is going to be handled by a city attorney or by an outside counsel. Sir, is that a reasonable matter?
Continue with your...
Well, that's a question, okay? And so the way we learn about that is we have to do a cost-benefit analysis. The only way we can do that, sir, is if we know, as an example, and you can ask people at the LA Times about this, how much money...
Eric, you're really not on the subject. Get back to it, please.
Well, is there a budget for this particular case? So... in connection with that, we do try to estimate how much cases are going to cost over at the county and other jurisdictions. And here at LA City, I was hoping that we could identify, for example, in the Carol Sobel case, $1.1 million for
Thank you. You're off subject now. Okay, Mr. Dude. Mr. Dude, followed by Mr. Spindler. Mr. Spindler, please come forward. Thank you, Mr. Previn. Sergeants, he seems to have a problem in leaving the podium.
Well, yes, my favorite time. That's why I had to come. Oh, outside counsel. Oh, I love outside counsel. because outside counsel stimulates the economy. Outside counsel is the only job creation growth in the city of Los Angeles.
This is not about outside counsel.
Yeah, come on.
Outside counsel is what you want to hire,
No,
right?
stay on the subject. That's what we want.
Litigation on your mobility plan because people need to drive. For example, people in bikes should pay for the bike lanes, but people that drive are paying for people that do not drive. So somebody looked at all of this plan and said, illogical, like fucking Spock, illogical. So they go back. Now they're going to file a lawsuit claiming you should have went under sections under CEQA because there's going to be more congestion and fumes when traffic slows down. That's a substantial, significant environmental alteration of facts. So therefore, you pass the plan by fucking up and not having a proper environmental impact report. So now you have to go back to the budget committee and get the money to fund this battle. And who better than Chairman Krikorian to do it? And that's what you're going to do. You're going to go in the back. You won't stay out here and let me hear it. I want to hear it, but you won't let me go back there and hear what you're going to do because that's all the excitement and the drama.
Stay on the subject.
I never see in the closed session. The closed session is the city's business. We never get to see what really happens. But hopefully you will come out here and you will tell us when you're done with closed session what action or non-action was taken.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dude. Item 24. You have 1 minute.
I have a lifetime. What are you talking about? A minute. 1 minute is enough to say that Mr. Spindler is completely right. You guys.
Why don't you get on the subject?
Well,
Mr. Spindler's not the subject. You get on the subject.
Oh, I see. You don't like what he said?
No, you're off the subject. Last warning. Get on the subject, Mr. Dude.
Well, I think you should be on the subject.
Thank you so much. Your time's expired for being off the subject. Okay, sergeants, if you could do us a favor and please clear the chambers. Please clear the council chambers. Okay, now we're back in open session. Mr. City Attorney, no announcements or anything need to be made? Okay, so that brings us back, I believe, Madam Clerk, to general public comment?
Yes, Mr.
Correct?
President. Yes.
Okay, so I'm looking for a Terry, I think it's Terry Wilborn. Sean Murphy, please come forward. Arnold Sachs.
Yeah. Langenship and Moore Park, I talked to you about the crosswalk, still not fixed. How many times I got to tell you about it?
I'll ask him. Thank you, Mr. Sachs. And before Mr. Sachs, Mr. Buscaino, are you on the queue? Okay, so he can be removed. Yes, Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Arnold Sachs, and thank you for cutting your closed session short. Couple things. The DWP has been in the news. It's kind of fascinating somewhat when you read some of the newspaper articles. Big column that the mayor's reforms are slow to occur with the DWP. And they don't really go into it, the part where when the mayor was elected, this latest DWP contract was almost all but signed. So all the reforms that the mayor is planning to put into effect have to wait for the next contract to come up. And when you get that kind of reporting without those kind of facts, there's a big hole, and you should be aware of that.
All right, Mr. Walsh, Ms. Sarnoff, Mr. Previn.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Please come. If you've never been there before, to J. Walsh Confidential. Here's what it says. Supervisor Mike Antonovich's recent episodes of memory loss and odd behavior while chairing the Supervisors Board county prompt calls for early Alzheimer's disease testing. I've talked to the LA Times, and they said until he wets his pants over there, they're not going to do anything. He gave one woman 6 minutes under public comment, and the next person 1 minute. He's lost his mind. He has early Alzheimer's disease, and he's running against Portantino for state senate and Mike Gatto. We need him to voluntarily, Mike Antonovich, be tested, consent to testing for early Alzheimer's.
Ms. Sarnoff, please come forward.
Ruth Sarnoff, I'm here to talk about quality of air. Not all air is equal. We have some of the worst pollution in the country, and a lot of it stems through the ports and the Alameda Corridor. And we have 6 refineries here. We have Exide and lots of other things. I put together kind of a potpourri of articles pertaining to air. I hope you will read them. I will try to be more thoughtful of putting together things where it's easier to connect the dots. I know I have passed out some things in the last period of time when I got here too late to counsel to your staff, and I hope you've been receiving the communications. I thank you.
Mr. Previn. And then I think I called on Mr. Walsh, and if I could get Ms. Pearman. Mr. Previn, the floor is yours.
Yes, it is Eric Previn, a city resident from CD2. Sir, very poor form to take a 1-hour closed session in which you're being sued on the mobility plan, and then Mr. Bonin takes a press conference with Heal the Bay. I know he would rather be identified as a guy healing the Bay than being sued for his mobility plan, but to make the public wait an hour is appalling. There were 7 of us, 8 of us. You could have simply run and be done with that. Today on the agenda, there were 11 public safety items, none of which were open for comment. That's a bungle, sir. And I had things to say about it because I've studied these matters. Also, item 2 was the outside counsel costs, sir. You know, you spend a lot of money on outside lawyers, and we want to talk about it. But you cut the time off. You make us small so we can't be seen by the folks at City Council. Gil Reyes, who did a wonderful piece on Channel 35 about homeless, walked by. He said, "How do I know that voice?" I said, "Well, sir, it's because I appear at the meetings, but you've never seen me because Mr. Wesson makes me tiny." I don't want to be tiny. I don't think the other people do either, and we have things to say. So I, sir, would urge you to do the right thing.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Walsh, it's my understanding you already spoke. So, Ms. Pearman, are you here? Ms. Pearman? Mr. Marine and Mr. Akala.
In which City Council spends their time with expensive, ineffective bike lanes not being used. Los Angeles is in mortal danger. Los Angeles, be ready for World War III. Be ready to die. Be ready, Los Angeles, for Iran and other terrorists to destroy the United States, all because of Barack Obama, in my opinion, a Shiite Muslim. Obama supports and helps terrorists in Iraq, Iran, North Korea, and Cuba by not acting responsibly and backing ineffective deals, along with John Kerry, supported by Hillary Clinton. Please, people, do not hurt Barack Obama. He needs to be tried in the court system for war crimes, brought to The Hague. ISIS threats in America are more diverse and more widespread. Millions of people will die because of Iran. Our mobility plan and bike lanes will be destroyed along with our infrastructure. They don't need to bomb us. They can destroy us and disable us by taking our commuter system we rely on so much. And in the meantime, the City Council just goes along with the flow.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Marine, followed by Mr. Akala, followed by Mr. Spindler.
Yes, I'm sure you all have a city credit card like this. And it stands for, it shows that Henry stands for help everybody not reconciled yet. And we know how much money our employer representatives and our employee representatives motion and second to shelter from the pay of others than me, and fail to carry and roll over to laces and CalPERS as required by law. Consequently, it is easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission to shelter that money in the first place. So all you got to do is make back payments, and we won't have to deal with any 504 convictions. Penal Code 504, as you know. Tell them what it stands for, Mr. City Attorney. 504, embezzlement. Now, he told me it's easier. Just make the back payments, and you don't have a shit to worry about.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Akala, followed by Mr. Spindler.
I thank you for going into closed session. You made my day. I took a siesta while you guys had your power talk. I had my power nap. And I'm going to be powerful because I'm going to run for mayor. And I stand a very good chance because only 10% of the voters vote. If I go around and get a 20% vote, you guys are out. All of you. The first thing I'm going to do is fire City Council. You all go to hell, which is very near Sacramento. You can work over there. And then if you want to go to further hell, you can go to Washington. That's real hell over there. Ask Donald Trump. That asshole came out from hell, straight from hell. And he's one of them rednecks. He has his neck red by the fire from hell. You fucking rednecks.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Spindler.
Yes, during a closed session, somebody held a press conference during a closed session. Naughty, naughty, naughty. You look up the law. I don't think that's proper. But don't worry, nobody's watching. They can't see my face. Nobody can see my face because it's just that big and getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. I can wear a hood and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. But I'm going to go over to the county board now, and I'm going to go play over there in that sandbox over there. And they make my head big, and you can see my face. And then they see my face, but I can't wear a hood. Yet I can come here and wear a hood, and you can't see my face. Please, what do we do about this quandary?
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, what's before this body?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
They are posted and referred.
That clears the day.
Announcements. Everybody, please rise. Mr. Price.
The Economic Development Committee will meet at 1:30. Economic Development at 1:30.
Okay, again, the Economic Development Committee will meet today at 1:30. Any adjournings? I'm looking to my right. I don't see any. Now I look to my left. I don't see any. Members, this meeting is adjourned.